Happy scrapper, happy scrapper, happy scrapper, whoa. Get ready to watch a happy scrapper video. Happy scrapper, yeah, yeah, here we go.
Okay guys, as scrap metal prices drop down, we need to make sure that we're getting the most we can get out of what we're picking up and taking in to sell. So I'm going to start a series discussing each type of metal and what's the best way you can get the most out of what you're getting. And this series is going to be on aluminum. Aluminum is the second most recycled material, right behind, I'm sure you would have guessed it, steel or shred. But there's about 50 different types or styles of aluminum, and the most common ones we'll discuss here, that what you're going to be faced with when you're recycling. And we're going to start out with the types of aluminum cable. If you look at that right there, that looks like a nice pile of all clean aluminum. There is some clean aluminum in there, but it's got different styles and terms, and will also pay different. For example, this big piece of aluminum right there that you see that coiled up, that's most commonly called ACSR, or aluminum steel reinforced conductor cable. And just as the term says, it's going to have steel reinforced, so it's going to pay differently. Here's a piece of it close up behind this dryer. And if you look at it, it's stranded. These pieces here are going to be aluminum, but these 5 or 6 cables right in the center are going to be steel. So that's going to pay a different price, much lower than if it was aluminum altogether and by itself. That's another time that you need desperately to have a good magnet so you can check that. There is going to be coils that are that big that's going to be all aluminum, so you'd want to make sure to check that. Just unstrand it a little bit and you'll be able to take your magnet there and look and see if that's going to be steel, or if it's been outside for any length of time, that will be rusted on the end. Another type of aluminum that's got a heavy magnesium content is aluminum bumpers. Now when I say aluminum bumpers, I'm not talking about the chrome plated one like you see on an old 59 Cadillac or anything like that. That's going to be all steel. But right behind this plastic piece on most modern cars is there's usually going to be like a piece of foam, and then a piece of plastic, and then a pretty good size hunk of aluminum. And that aluminum is mixed with magnesium to give it strength. Just about, well, not just about, all aluminum that you're going to come in contact with is not going to be pure. You're going to have some stuff that's going to get pretty close, but most everything is going to be mixed with something depending on the user's requirements for strength. Magnesium that you would see here in this bumper piece, zinc, there's other things, and just basic foreign material that might be in something, depends on how it's refined and how it's produced. And zinc or magnesium that would be in that bumper is what makes it so flammable and a hard time for firefighters to put out car fires, because of the magnesium level that's in those aluminum pieces. One of the closest things that you'll come to getting a pure aluminum would be a can. They're thin. Most of the time the coloring on them is so thin that it really doesn't make much difference, and that tab right there is going to be one of the items that's going to be the closest to getting pure aluminum. That's probably going to be about 99.7 to drop down to about 99.5. You'll see these in people have what they have, pull tab fundraisers and stuff, churches, community organizations and stuff, for these pull tabs. And it's not because they pay anymore, it's because of these pull tabs are closest thing, like I said, to pure aluminum, so they would be recycled, be used in hypodermic needles and medical type stuff. So that's why a lot of those people collect those. So let's look at some other aluminum. In addition to the steel reinforced cable, another aluminum conductor cable that you'll see a lot while scrapping is EC cable. This is going to be aluminum on the inside with no steel. It gets what strength it needs from this rubber plastic casing on the outside. It's very hard to get that casing off, so most of the time scrap yards will just pay a particular UC price for that. And another type of aluminum that you'll see is extruded aluminum. Extruded aluminum is a clean aluminum that you'll see in screen doors, window frames, and some flat sheeting. Yards will pay different prices on that because a lot of the times you'll see the windows just like this will be painted, and sometimes they'll have a scale on their own for they may call it dirty sheet. Most of the time the coating on it's not enough that they'll pay just a regular sheet aluminum price for it, but you want to make sure that you take your windows and screens apart. I don't know if you can see or not. Take these screws out that are in it and make sure it's clean, and you can get that extruded price. Here's an example of aluminum radiators. Most all modern cars are going to have a solid aluminum radiator. Some of the older cars are going to have aluminum fins with copper piping on the inside, and of course as you get way back in the cars, you're going to see all all copper fins. The whole thing's going to be copper. Here's another piece of aluminum. This is going to be considered MLC. It's usually a clean, harder steel that's mixed, usually some type of farm material. It's usually going to be like a 3003, 3004. It could be even like a 6061 or 6063 mix for strength. Yards will pay MLC straight. This big aluminum sign here would most likely be paid as a painted sheet, but we may take it down, take it apart, and see how thick the paint is on it and see what's going to be paid on it. You'll see some just regular sheet there, a painted aluminum sheet, and right here in the corner you'll see some aluminum foil. Out of all aluminum, the aluminum foil and aluminum shavings, or I forget exactly what another name for it, like aluminum that comes from a machine shop or something like that that's been swept up off the floor from where they've drilled into a cast aluminum piece or something. Those shavings and aluminum foil pay the least because of how thin they are, how small they are. Usually in the smelting process, most of the value in it is destroyed. So usually with aluminum foil or something like that, I'll just wad it up until I get a trash bag full of it and take it just for the heck of it. Usually it only brings a couple of pennies. Aluminum thermobonding is another item that you'll see if you do a lot of e-waste and electronics. This particular item is not one, but it would come out looking something like this. It would have aluminum fins, and at the bottom it would either maybe have a copper piece there that's bonded together by heat, and they would pay a different price. This one is just a regular heat sink from a board that came out of a printer, which would just be sold as extruded aluminum. There's other type of aluminum that you probably wouldn't get a chance to see. Say litho sheet aluminum is another really high grade aluminum. You'll see it in if you have a box factory or some type of manufacturing around that prints their own packaging. then they print those guides and stuff on a litho sheet, a big 4x8 or 4x4 sheet of aluminum, and transfer. And it's fine enough that it transfers or picks up a real thin layer of the ink and transfers it either to the box or the plastic or something that would print the box. Aluminum clips is going to be something usually small, all aluminum. You'll see a lot of these in heat sink, not heat sinks like you see in a computer, but separation boards and electronics and stuff would be considered aluminum clips. They're usually going to be small, no bigger than hand size or what you see there. And then again, there's aluminum wheels. They usually pay completely separate. The alloy that's in them is usually like a 60-61 mix, and they're cast, but it's a different type of cast. And while we're talking about cast, you have regular cast aluminum. You'll see cast aluminum like you see here with Grandma's roast pot, and then this item here is casted, and they can either be casted in sand or silicon cast, or another item that you'll see a lot of is automobile parts. Aluminum motors in cars are cast. Transmission housings in cars are cast aluminum. The aluminum surround on a starter, or the aluminum grid pieces on a alternator, they're going to be cast. And also with cast wheels, not only would you see those in car wheels, but you'll see there's a lot of variety of motorcycle wheels that are also cast. Alrighty guys, I think that pretty well covers aluminum. If you guys have any questions, this is the first video I'm going to include an email address down below in the description box. So if you guys want to make contact with me, have any questions or anything, you can use that. And I haven't said it in past videos, but apparently I need to start doing that, is like, subscribe, rate the videos, because apparently that helps out a whole lot and helps support the channel. Again guys, I hope this helped out. If you have any questions about aluminum, please use that email and send them to me, and I'll help you all I can. Happy scrapping.